is as we have discussed, like RFID means radio frequency, right? So frequency, so the radio have frequencies, that range is like, you can say, like starting from 0 we can go up to some gigahertz, right? Starting from hertz, then kilohertz, then megahertz, and then gigahertz, right? So this kilo means 10 raised to 3, mega means 10 raised to 6, giga means 10 raised to 9, right? So the, among these all the range of the frequency, right? Which frequency we are using for this RFID? So like we have divided that frequency into some portion like LF, HF, UF, and UFL, UHF, and SHF. So LF means low frequency, means the frequency which is less than 135 kilohertz. Then in HF means high frequency. So in high frequency, like starting from 6.7 megahertz to some 27.28 megahertz, right? So starting from 6 to 28 megahertz, this is the range of high frequency. That band is known as a high frequency band, right? So in RFID we are using low frequency. In some application also we are using high frequency. In some application also we are using UHF. So it's a ultra high frequency. U for ultra, H for high, and F for frequency. So that range is like 433 megahertz to some 900 megahertz, right? So that range, between that range, uh, we can use those frequency in RFID, radio frequency identification. And from 2.4 gigahertz to some 5.8 gigahertz, right? So this range is known as a super high frequency, or sometimes also known as a microwave, right? So in RFID application we will cover almost the complete range, we can say, right? Right. So here I have shown in like this, the frequency is around 125 kilohertz, right? So basically below 135 kilohertz. So that is low frequency. Then if it's around 30 megahertz, so high frequency. If it's around 900 megahertz, then it's ultra high frequency. And if it's around 2.45 gigahertz, so it's microwave, right? And you can see like some RFID tag, right, is shown in the slide. Okay, now what about the standards, or we can say the regulation and the standardization, right? So we know like in RFID we are using radio frequency, right? In RFID we have, like in the tag we have circuit, we have uh, the memory, we have antenna, right? Uh, like for RFID there are so many standards, right? So many different, we can say, regulations are available. So like ISO have given the specific name to those standard, right? So you can see like in orange color this ISO 11784 oblique 11785, right? So 11784 and 85. So these two both are using the frequency of 134.2 kilohertz, and generally this is used for the application of animal identification, right? So likewise you can see like uh, ISO 14223 is radio frequency identification again for animal, and it will use some advanced uh, transporters. Transporters means the transmitter and receiver, right? So in every like once they will give some standard, right? After some interval, research is going on. So they will include some technology. They will improve. They will upgrade. So that way they are giving the different name, right? Then like in RFID enable passport, right? So in passport, some country they are using RFID, right? So for that they are using some frequency of 13.56 megahertz, which is from high frequency band, right? So For that they also given the name like ISO IEC 1443, right? 1443. So these all are the different standard, right? Then one standard is defined for like non-contact smart payment and credit cards, right? So in that they are also using this 13.56 megahertz frequency, right? So for that they have different name. Then some in some standards are defined for like item management, right? So identify the different item. So for that they have given some name, right? This ISO IEC 18092, right? So there is telecommunication and information exchange between system, right? So it's also known as the near field communication, you can call it. And the short form is like near field communication interface and protocol, so NFCIP1, right? Then some standard is like for industry purpose, so industry standard for electronic sales, we can say e-sales, right? For tracking cargo containers, and they are using the frequency in the super high frequency band, or we can say microwave frequency band, that is 433 megahertz and 24 gigahertz, right? So these all are the different standard, right? Then some standard like the same like NFCIP1, right? NFCIP2, right? This is also the information technology, telecommunication and information exchange between systems, right? Then some standards like some standard test method for determining the performance of passive radio frequency identification, right? So these ASTM, those are actually uh, the protocol, or we can say standardization which is for passive radio frequency identification, right? So which is used like transported on pelletized or unitized loads, right? Some TMD 7435, right? 7435, 7434, 7580, right? So this 7435, this is also used for loaded container, right? Uh, then like some use within the library, so that is ISO 28560 right? The specified encoding standard and data model to be used in the library, right? So these are the some different standard. uh, okay, so here also like this ISO IEC, it's a international standard organization, right? And the IEC is the international electro technical commission, right? So they have given some standard like the name like 18000 starting from 1 to 7, like in the form of the series, right? And for different standard they are using different frequency, right? uh, and that is kind of air interface, right? Then the one standard which is widely used, or nowadays most of the time whatever the RFID system you'll find, they are using the EPC, right? uh, EPC, so this is given by EPC Global Inc., right? And they are using both the frequency, high frequency band, that is 13.56 megahertz, and in UHF band they are using the frequency from 868 to 928 megahertz, right? And this frequency also like in this UHF band, right? They also have some different class like class 0, class 1, generation 1, class 1, generation 2, right? uh, so the popular one is this last one, right? The EPC generation 2, right? There is class 1, generation 2. So this uh, This EPC, actually this EPC Global, it's known for not-for-profit organization, right? Developing commercial and worldwide RFID standard, right? So they are developing the standard, right? Uh, then this UHF class 1 generation 2, right? It's class 1 generation 2 or commonly known as a Gen 2, right? So you can, like here the mention is website. In that website you can go and you will find the detail, more detail about this, right? So we will not cover all the detail, but some information about this. So this EPC, actually it's a electronic product code, right? So nowadays wherever you find this kind of RFID system, right? So most of the application they are using this EPC. So in this EPC, it's kind of a code, right? So like you can see in the figure, uh, some different version. Like in some version, you will find that code is of 64-bit, right? And the latest one is using 96-bit, right? So these all bits also have like first two bits will give you the information about the version. Next, some bits will give the information about EPC manager. Next, some bits will give the information about the object class, and the last some bits are about the serial number, right? So you will see like in type 1, type 2, type 3, in all the type, these number of bits are different for different field, right? So do not like you do not need to remember this particular exact number, but these for information like what will be inside this EPC, right? So if we see about the history, so starting from class 0, class 1, and nowadays it's class 1 generation 2, right? And in the process of becoming this standard, this latest one, right, is in the process of becoming ISO standard, right? And it is used in like item management or retail, right? Main application. So that's why it's item management standard and retail standard, right? So in these standards, like whatever radio frequency we are using, through through that we are transferring the data, right? So that radio waves, right? Before antenna will send it in the air, that radio frequency, right? Before that, uh, there is a process called modulation, right? So in each and every tag, or we can say in reader, right? This modulation will happen, right? So these and also like I think in one figure I have shown you, right? When we when we are discussing the the block diagram, right? Parallel, right? Here, see this, right? Here, this below this power supply, you will find like TX modulator and RX demodulator, right? So each and every tag will do this process, modulation and demodulation. When it's transmit, it will do the modulation, and when it will receive, it will do the demodulation. So it's kind of, you can call like encoding decoding, right? Actually, modulation is like the data, like for example our voice are in the form, if you will find the frequency of voice, it will be in the some only hertz or maybe up to kilohertz, right? But that kilohertz signal, it will transmit from one place to another place. Then after some distance, lots of noise and attenuation will happen to that signal, and because of that, right, like after some distance you will not get, you can't receive that signal, right? So as the frequency will increase, right, the signal can travel more and more distance. Like the kilohertz signal, it can travel up to some meter, and then this megahertz and gigahertz can travel up to some kilometers, right? So modulation is like, if your data is of low frequency, you will put those low frequency on the signal of high frequency, and then after that you will transmit the signal, right? So that is the process of modulation. Okay, right? So okay, so here in this EPC class 1 Gen 2, this the modulations like DSB, ASK. Right? These are different types of modulation like double sideband amplitude shift keying, single side amplitude shift keying, phase reversal amplitude shift keying. Right? So these are the modulation which are used in this standard. Then for encoding, it will use the pulse interval encoding. Right? So what is this? We will not go in the detail, but you just need to remember like which encoding this standard is using. Right? Then it will have different data rate, right? So if we'll talk about this EPC Gen 2, right? So it's uh, as we've seen the last slide, right? EPC Global UHF Class 1 Generation 2, right? It's short form. It's EPC Gen 2. So this EPC Gen 2, this protocol is given by this EPC Global, right? And it's a joint venture between GS1, it's a US based one organization, right? And is working on international standard for the use of mostly passive RFID, right? And the EPC Electronic Product Code. So this company or organization, you can say, it's working to make the international standard for passive RFID and this EPC, right? And generally this passive RFID and EPC, right? Electronic Product Code. This generally we use in the application of identification, right, of many items in supply chain for the company worldwide, right? The mission, one mission of this EPC Global was to simplify the protocol in the RFID world, right? So the RFID was started in like it was invented, you can say, like in some 90s, right? Before 90. So in the 90s they will these organizers started, right? And their main aim is to just simplify the protocol and it will make it worldwide, right? uh, so the two tag air interface, the protocol of exchanging information between a tag and the reader, right? That were defined, right, by this EPC in some 2003, right? And this protocol commonly known as the class 0 and class 1, right? So that we have seen, right? And people have started to use, or it will become the commercial, right? In some 2002 to 2005, right? So this is about the history about this EPC. Then in 2004, like Hardware Action Group created a new protocol, and that is Class 1 Generation 2 interface, right? Which address a number of problems that had been experienced in Class 0 and Class 1, right? So Class 1 and Class 0 tags, right? They have many disadvantages, or you can say many limitations, and those limitations are solved, right, or overcome by this latest Generation 2 protocol, right? Uh, so this protocol EPC Gen 2 is approved in December 2004, right? Uh, and the it's using like it was approved after a contention from the Intermec that standard may increase number of their RFID related patterns, and it was decided like the standard itself does not increase their patterns, right? And making this standard royalty free, right? So some have like uh, whenever is something is invented patented by some person, and if you want to use, then you have to pay the royalty to that person. But this EPC Gen, it was like royalty free, right? Then the EPC Gen 2 standard was adopted with minor modification as ISO 18000 2006, right? Uh, in 2007, the low cost of Gen 2 EPC was offered by now defunct company, right? Smartcode, and the price is of about some $0.05 per piece, right? So this is about the EPC Gen 2, or about the standards, right? Uh, right? So standard is generally defined based on, we can say, the application, or based on, we can say, like which frequency you are using, right? uh, Now the problems and concern related to RFID, so we can include like data flooding, global standardization, security, health, uh, shielding, government control, right? Deliberate disruption in the clothing and other item, right? Privacy. So these all are the concern, or we can say like problem related to the wherever we are using radio frequency identification system. Right? So let's discuss one by one. So data flooding. So it's like not every successful reading of a tag is useful for business purpose. Right? Like RFID tag, we know it has some information, some data, and from reader will read it. But it is not necessary, or like it is not always true. Whenever you read a tag, right, you are getting the useful information. Right? So, for example, if I'll give an example, like you have implemented the system in your, for example, warehouse, right? And in your warehouse, the warehouse size of the warehouse is that much of large that you have to put the reader after some interval, right? After some distance, you have the RFID tag reader. Right? Now, whenever a object, a item which has the tag will pass through the all reader, right? So you are transferring one item from one place to the another place, right? So all of your reader will read that tag. Right? Now, like maybe the data read by the first and the last reader, it may be useful, but the data which is read by the intermediate reader, right? Maybe it is not useful, because you are transferring item from one place to another place, right? So you need to just know the place, right? So that way, like whenever the reader will read the, or we can say like get the information from tag, the whole information is not useful, right? So you can call it like that information is redundant, right? Not useful. So large amount of data may be generated that is not useful for managing the like inventory or other application, right? So the example I have given. So we need like some uh, arrangement, right? Like filtering, event filtering is required to reduce this data inflow to meaningful uh, deception of the moving goods and passing a threshold, right? So we need some filtering, some arrangement, like how we can manage this data, right? And because of that, right, the solution is like, that's why we have introduce this middleware, right? RFID middleware. The function of this RFID middleware is to filtering or to remove the redundant data, and whatever data you are getting, right, to display that data in some meaningful manner, right? So that is also this data flooding is one kind of problem, we can say, like it's like uh, the information or data which is not useful, right, that you call as a data flooding, right? Then global standardization, so that is also one kind of problem, like some country, right, so they are following some standard, right? They have some their own rules and regulation, uh, like in India, maybe you heard or maybe you read in newspaper, like you can't use a drone, right, at public places, right? uh, but in some country it's allowed, right? So why? Because for that you are using some frequency, right? So like mobile communication, like this FM, like our radio communication, right? Some military purpose, right? For all those things they are using frequencies, they are using like transferring. Whenever you talk about a system which is wireless, right, definitely we are whatever the data you are transferring, that you are transferring through the signal from the radio frequency, right? In the radio frequency, so that much of application we are using. So government have standardized like this band is used by these people, this band is used by this application, right? So likewise different country have different standardization, right? And because of that, like RFID system is developed by one country, right? You can't using that same thing in India, right? So the frequency used for UHF RFID in USA are as of 2007 incompatible with those of Europe and Japan. Furthermore, no emerging standard has yet become as universal as the barcode, right? So for barcode, the standards are universal, but still uh, in RFID, right? Not all standards are universal. Uh, so this is one concern. Then security concern, right? This is the most important. RFID used in the access control, payment, and e-passport, right? EID. So these all field, right? These all need security. Their main concern, or we can say like their main uh, need is security, right? In payment also, the security should be very high. In ID or access control, definitely the security should be very high. Okay? So primary RFID security concern is the illegal tracking of RFID tag, right? So if somebody will read your RFID tag, right? You have reader, you can read, that is fine. But if in your system whatever RFID tag you are using, right, I will make a reader which will read this RFID tag, then I will track whatever I can get the information whatever you have saved in your tag, right? So the main security concern is like illegal tracking, right? So tags which are world readable pose a risk to both the personal location privacy and the corporate or military security, right? So if you track RFID tag means definitely you get the location, right? So that is the problem, right? And if your application is related to military, right, which where the information are confidential, right? So the system will not work, right? You definitely need high security. Such concerns have been raised with the respect to the US Department of Defense, right? Recent adoption of RFID tag for supply chain management, right? So this is like recently US Department of Defense, right? They have uh, adapt the RFID system, right, in their supply chain management. But because of this security concern, right, they are facing the problem. Like there is the discussion like uh, they should use or not, right? More generally, privacy organizations have expressed the concern in the context of ongoing effort to embed EPC RFID tag in general use products. So uh, this EPC, right? In that also the right, like we can say like the RFID tag and this EPC. So EPC, the main aim is to use the EPC is like to provide some security. Right? So that's why this EPC became more popular. Right? So this is mostly as a result of the fact that RFID tag can be read and legitimate transaction with reader can be monitored or tapped, right, for non-travel distance. So there is one problem with RFID, right? And it can be read from some distance, right? If you have not provided the security, right? And one can also like if RFID tag is like that active kind of tag, right? Then you can not only read, you can also write the information. So if you can change the information which is inside the RFID tag, right? So that may happen. Right. The second method, one is the EPC, then second method to, for security is you can do the cryptography, right? So cryptography is kind of, you can call it as a coding, right? Encoding and decoding. So uh, some example is like rolling codes and challenge response authentication, right? These are commonly used to prevent the monitor repetition of message between the tag and reader, as any message that have been recorded would prove to be the unsuccessful or repeat transmission, right? So that way, like if somebody try to hack, or we can say like try to track, right? So multiple time they are doing the process, so multiple time, or you can say like they are doing that transmission receiver repeatedly, right? So using this cryptography, right, we can find it like somebody is doing or not. Unauthorized reading of RFID tag present a risk to privacy and to the business uh, secrecy, right? So in business also definitely we need privacy and security. Unauthorized reader can potentially use RFID information to identify or track the packages, person, carriers, or contents of a package. So sometimes uh, some object or some item you have packed with some wrapper, and on the wrapper you have or on the box you have the RFID tag, and that you have mentioned all the information what is inside that. And if somebody read it, then they can get those information, or we can like they can also change it. Right? Several prototype systems are being developed to combat the unauthorized reading, including RFID signal interruption, as well as the possibility of legislation. Right? So people are all still people are working on it, right? Definitely nowadays RFID tag has some security, but some people, some group of the people are there who can, like they are creating such system, like they can track it, like they can tap it, right? Or we can say like they can hack it. About health, so in RFID tag we know like electronic circuit, microchip we are using, right? And in like we are also using this RFID for animal identification, right? So it is found in some cases like this microchip induced tumor, right, into animals. So not not all, but some frequency, if you are using that much of high frequency, they may they may cause such kind of problem like tumor. Then shielding, so uh, in effort to prevent the passive skimming or RFID enabled card or passport, the US uh, General Service Administrator issued a set of test procedures for evaluating the electromagnetically opaque sleeves. Right? So, like I know, like this this item have RFID tag, right? And now I have to send this item to some particular place, and after reaching that place, I need to read the information. I I will have like some uh, provision, like how I can stop a reader to read the RFID tag. So if you cover the RFID tag with some kind of material, then like nobody can communicate with the RFID tag, right? So that way you can also provide the security. So such you can say such material is like electromagnetically opaque sleeves, right? So for shielding product to be in compliance with the guidelines, they must meet or exceed this of this standard. The US government requires that when new ID cards are issued, they must be delivered with an approved shielding sleeve or holder, right? So in US, like in passport, they are using RFID, right? So like once you will go to the passport office and you will issue the passport, right? So they will send it to you by, for example, some courier or some post. So what they will do, if directly they will send, then between from the office to your home, right? Me, there is a chance like somebody can read the RFID tag and and get the information. So what they will do, they will uh, provide a shield or a holder around this RFID can, and after that they will deliver to your home. There is a little evidence that RFID scanning is a serious threat, right? Data encryption and use of EMV chip rather than RFID makes this sort of the theft real. So EVM chip is kind of chip which you will see in your credit or debit card, right? Nowadays you will find in your bank debit or credit card one kind of chip is there. So that is EMV chip, right? So if you use the data encryption and such kind of chip, then this kind of threat will we can reduce. There are contradictory opinions as to whether the aluminum can prevent reading or RFID chip or not, right? So there is a mixed opinion, like some are telling like using aluminum foil, like or aluminum material, right? You can prevent like that RFID signal, that signal transmission you can prevent or you can stop. So some people claim that the aluminum shielding, essentially creating a Faraday cage, does work, right? And other claim that simply wrapping an RFID card in aluminum foil only makes the transmission more difficult and is not completely effective at preventing it, right? So some are telling like it can prevent, some are telling like it's not completely preventing. Maybe some uh, some signal may not transmit and receive, right? But not all. So there is a mixed opinion of people. Uh, but that prevention of the transmission, right, that also depends on like of which how much thickness you are using for the aluminum material, right? So the shielding effectiveness depends on the frequency being used, right? And also it depends on the frequency. Like if you are using a very uh, thin foil, aluminum foil, and you have the frequency in gigahertz, then it will not work, right? So depends on the frequency, right? This shielding is the effectiveness of this shielding, it depends on frequency, right? So for example, like in LF, low frequency, uh, this low frequency ID tags, like those using the inflatable devices for humans and pets, are relatively resist to shielding, although thick metal foil will prevent most of it, right? So if you use a thick metal foil, then you can prevent this low frequency. Generally we are using like in human identification and in the animal identification, right? Because this low frequency will not affect that much of the health. Then high frequency like the frequency in megahertz, right? Smart cards and access badges, right, are sensitive to shielding and are difficult to read when within a few centimeter of metal surface. So if like in front of RFID tag, if a few centimeter, right, some 3-4 centimeter metal surface will be there, then it's difficult to read it, right? Then in the UHF, like ultra high frequency ID tag, right, which are we are using in like commercially, right, in cargo and in cartoon, right, are difficult to read when placed within a few millimeter of metal surface, right? Although the read range is actually increased when they are spaced 2-4 centimeter from a metal surface due to the positive reinforcement reinforcement of the reflected wave and the incident wave at the time, right? It depends on the frequency, the thickness of the metal matters, right? Okay, so this is about today's lecture, right? uh, any doubt or any question? Hello? Any question?
No, sir.
Okay, so I'm sharing this Google form, just fill it, okay? Because now